Hi, this is Michael Lee again. In this video, I am going to explain how to do all this creation of tags and or other blank structure of HTML with a Dreamweaver. So let's get started. All right. So the first thing you have to do is you have to get your Dreamweaver ready. If you are a Ball State student, you should be able to get a free copy of your Adobe Suite. If you don't, or if you don't know how to do it, I am going to put some instruction again. It is in our Canvas in first week prep site, but I will also put those information in the this week's module. So Dreamweaver is a must to have for this section. So if you don't have Dreamweaver, why don't you stop this video and go get the free copy of Adobe Dreamweaver, and let's come back to this video. All right. So my goal here today is going over all this Dreamweaver structure and how to use it. In the end of this video, I'm expecting you that you can create this HTML text structures and all the tags, the container tags and the formatting tags with the Dreamweaver. I hope you remember that we did all this thing creating an HTML document with a bracket last week. So from this week on, we are done with the bracket. You may feel like, well, if we are going to use bracket only 1 week, why did we learn this? I am going to explain, but in the end, Dreamweaver is not that much different with the brackets. It has a little bit of more a automated function or convenient menu, but in the long run, it's not that much different. So why don't we talking about that first, and then I'm gonna keep going and explain how to work with the Dreamweaver. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open I need some sort of like canvas to draw, so I'm gonna open up my PowerPoint and I'm gonna explain it to you. All right. So what is, as I said, what is the difference between Dreamweaver and bracket? So let's say this is a document, HTML. No, it's not HTML. Let's say this is a document that you want to create and then put in the internet. By this way, everybody can see. Of course, that has a lot of maybe drawings and pictures and everything. And then they'll have some sort of headers, and you can have different we are going to all talk about this in this class phase. So let's say I want to do this. And with the bracket, you have to implement every single detail of this element, even the small little box, big box, circular shape, everything by typing a tag. But you ultimately want to do something, because we're not engineer. What you are looking for is something that I can do something like what I do with Microsoft Word. And if there are anything that I can convert to the tag, because in the long run, whatever MS document you have in the internet, you have to have HTML document. So in HTML document, whatever design or layout you have, it's gonna have to layout. It's gonna be all lines of tag, HTML tags. This is why I showed you the other day that actual HTML code of Google site. So in between here, there is a Dreamweaver. So Dreamweaver is nothing but you just bring in this idea of creating a document like you do the Microsoft Word, and Dreamweaver will convert it to HTML document. One nice thing about Dreamweaver, as you can see in a minute, is that you will see this whole, like this document, something that you have in mind, and the final outcome of HTML is like side by side. So in other words, we are dealing with these two at the same time. And then particularly in this side, like design and layout in Dreamweaver, we call it as a canvas view. So canvas view means it's just something I am imagining or thinking about as a layout. And in this final outcome that Dreamweaver will produce for you is code. So Dreamweaver can cover all in between canvas and code view side, which means we are able to see my HTML document, more likely Microsoft Word. It's a bit different. And also you can see how Dreamweaver create HTML side of it. So before I explain furthermore, why don't we go ahead and open it up, open the Dreamweaver. Before I get into a deeper end of Dreamweaver, let me explain. The first part of this video is like explaining how you work with the Dreamweaver, what is it, and everything. So whenever you open Dreamweaver, there are two ways you can start. One, you can always start with creating a new button over here. You can click on it, which means you can create a blank document, or you can click on open here, which will open up any existing HTML document. So for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new, because we started a new document. So click on create a new, and then it'll come up with this window over here. Now there are a lot of things to choose. There are like, it's like you go like this direction. So you have to check this one first, and then it'll come with like information. So you have to select 1, 2, 3 in a sequential way. And in the first one, you have 3 choices. You can have a new document, add new document, or you can start your new document as a template or site template. You don't have to know what is exactly right now. But for example, right now in the new document, and then it's asking you, okay, I know you are going to create a new document, and these are things or type of a new document that you can create with a Dreamweaver. HTML, of course, that's what we are learning, but like CSS, CSS is another thing that we're gonna heavily jump in the end, later part of this class. As you can see, you can do a JavaScript here. You can also do SVG, everything. I would say, don't worry, we'll just click on the HTML here, and then it's gonna ask you, hey, what kind of HTML do you want? This is very confusing. It says document title, and many people think like you are putting a big title of your document. That is wrong. So this column is particularly for the tab title. What do you mean by tab title? You understand what tab title means. Tab title is something like whenever you open a new document of a browser. And let me open up here. So this is one of the example of the web browser. Okay, I open the web browser over here, and I want you to pay attention. These are tab title. This is a tab, and on top of a tab there is a title here. So whenever you create a new document with a Dreamweaver, whatever you put over here will be go tab title, not as your document. So as you start, you don't have to. It's optional. You can do it later on in the Dreamweaver, so you don't have to do it right now. leave it as HTML5 always, and attach CSS. You don't have to do it now. So basically what you can do is you can just create and then click on create here. Now one thing, if you click on the Bootstrap, there are some other like options that you can do with the Bootstrap. I will explain what Bootstrap is and how to use it later on. But for now, you can just click on create, and then you will go into new HTML document with HTML. That's it. Now, if you go to the starter template, as you can see, you can start with some sort of a template of the document. So as you can see, if you go, oh, sorry, I accidentally clicked one of this. But as you can see, it's gonna ask you, hey, what kind of template you wanna use? Or, click, why it's not going away? Okay. Here we go. Create a new document. If you go to starter template, it'll come up with all these different kind of template, and you can see the preview of it. So Bootstrap with the resume type, real estate like business, product, portfolio, or you can do email template, like this is how you do an email, or even you can do an entire site. So for now, just new document, HTML, and create, boom. All right, so this is a first impression of Dreamweaver, and I am going to go over some of the very important functions, and then I will come back to you. Let's start with this very top here. No, actually, let's go start with here. So this whole area is like a canvas, which means this is more likely a Microsoft Word kind of work. So in this window, you can see the visual representation of your design. You can see the picture, you can see the layout, boxes, and colors. And as you can see here, this is a code view. This is actual code, and then this is important because this is a actual code that Dreamweaver will create for you. Many people have a wrong perception of Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver doesn't create image or video at all. In the long run, Dreamweaver just strictly create all this tag. So Dreamweaver is creating a tag, not a deep video or image. So canvas view and code view. All right, so I'm pretty sure you have this like on top of each other. And then we'll go more and more how to work with this. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. So let's see, I can, okay, so you can see in a bigger, I want you to look at this. In the canvas view, there are nothing in here. So there's a completely empty HTML document. However, if you look at the code view, as we did like last 2 weeks, there is a blank HTML structure. Now, by now, you know that exclamation doc type HTML, HTML tags, and head, body and body. So you know this. And one of the benefit of using Dreamweaver is that Dreamweaver take care of this whole code, blank code, structured. So you don't have to worry about it. Before I get further, I am going to give you 2 ways of using Dreamweaver. Many people, because I think we are communication major, we are going to start from here, which means we are going to use Dreamweaver more like a Microsoft Word. So in this canvas window, we're gonna drag pictures and videos and text. We are going to bring in, we can click on type in, or you can drag and drop, you can do it with canvas, And like I said, Dreamweaver is sort of like automatic software. It will automatically produce a code as a result of your design effort on Canvas view. So whatever you do here in the design view over here, entire line here, entire canvas here, window, it will always make changes in the code view. So let me show you in a very example. Say I'm gonna click on here, and then whatever I type in here, you notice that it automatically creates this line and in between and body and body. Didn't I tell you that this body and closing body is our canvas? So whatever we create, video, text, audio, whatever it is, it'll always goes to in between opening body and closing body tag. Okay, so I hope you remember this. Most of the time, we as communication major, we always start with canvas view here and expecting Dreamweaver create a code for us. So 1 and 2. So that's why communication major, we start with 1 here and goes to 2. So we do 1 and Dreamweaver does 2. However, engineering major, or I would say computer science major, they start with code review side and expecting a Dreamweaver showing the result of their coding. So in this case, they are using Dreamweaver backward. And this is why, one of the reasons why, well, if we are going to use Dreamweaver for the coding and then see the result in the Dreamweaver, we don't need a Dreamweaver. They just use a text editor like Rocket, and they want to see the result with a browser. So that is why engineers or computer science, they don't need that much of a Dreamweaver. So this is a clear line. We as a communication or media major, we want to do this. Start with the always a canvas, and we think about layer, we think about color balance, size, and everything. Like you do a video, like rule of the third, right? All those a visual grammar, we do here in Canvas. And then we use Dreamweaver for creating HTML. So I would say, don't worry about this. However, before I just say that, yeah, just like engineers are stupid, like we are just use Dreamweaver, say Canvas to the code. Many time, you actually have to go to the start with the 2 and go to 1. So don't get me wrong, because this area of code review is, say, you shouldn't think it as like, I don't care about what Dreamweaver does. I'm only gonna care about this canvas view, and I don't care about what Dreamweaver does for me in the code view side. That's totally dangerous approach, because sometimes Dreamweaver does something very, very stupid and weird. So yes, we are still doing the number 1 over here, but you pay attention to what Dreamweaver does in number 2. That is my point. All right, move on. Now, now you know what is this white space is about, and what is this like code view side. If you go under the top menu over here, there is a view option, and there is a split. So let's start with this view mode first. Okay, this is a view mode. Okay, so as you can see right now, a blue means it's activated. So right now it is a split mode. What do you mean by split? Split means one, because the entire Dreamweaver is going to create a one HTML document, and one HTML document is sort of split into design view and code view. So it's a split, which means I want to see both sides of it. That's why we use, most of the time, we use a split mode. Now, if you don't want to split, you can just click on the code view, click on it. Now, look at it. There is a code is in blue, which means activated, and entire window is assigned for the code view only. And in this code view only mode, you can use Dreamweaver more like the brackets, obviously. Or you can click on the live, which means I don't care about code. I only care about what I see as a dream design. So in this live view mode, this is more likely you use Dreamweaver like Microsoft Word. So in here, you can type in a text over here, drag and drop the video and picture over here. Like I said, most of the time we want to split. So that's why you have a split of design view and canvas view. Now, before we can come back to the split view, if you go to the live view, do you notice that there is a two mode hidden in between in the live view? And if you click on this upside down arrow, there is a live view and design view. These two are very similar, and you may find this like very confusing, but I hope you remember what I'm saying to you. I'm telling you right now. As a basic, and a live view doesn't make that much difference between live view and design view when we do a very basic stuff. But when we go to the CSS and advanced layout with the CSS, these two will start making some differences. My recommendation is always a stick around the design view. So design view, again, now it's changed the design. So until I tell you, hey, you want to switch to live view, remember this, always, I'm going to write down here, always, always stay with design view, because so many students confused by this, and then because Dreamweaver provided the live view mode as a default, they forgot to switch the design view. Make sure that you design view. So my recommendation is you always in split view in between code and design. So this is a design and this is a code. Okay. So now you know what this three menu does over here. Now let's go back to here, view mode. Now, because we are in split mode, so I can go to the split over here. You can click on code view or design view here, or you can do view mode here in the code view. It does the same thing over like you do with the clicking. You can go to view and you can go to the view mode, or you can go to the split mode. Now, when you split, there are some more like code to live. Like I said, you don't do the live, so code with design, right? Now, you can split vertically or horizontally. So right now, design view is on top, but you can change vice versa. You can do this. So code view is on top of it and design view is bottom. I always use like design view on the top because that's our primary. Up. So let's say split live view on top. Split between code and design. Split code and design. And let me see. So how about vertically, right? So this is like horizontally, but how about vertically? Then your canvas and your code view is side by side. And I like this setup. So most of the time I use this vertical step split, but it's a purely matter of your preference. Okay, now let's go to the bottom here called property window. And then I know many of you don't have this window over here. So what is happening? Property window is very important, especially for a media major like us. I found that property window is extremely useful unless like engineering major, we remember every single tag and memorize everything, then yeah, that's not a problem. They can do without property window. But property window is something that providing us options and what you can do, stuff like that. So unless you really feel like I don't need it, you have to have this property window. The problem is some of you don't have this window in down here. So what's happening? If you don't have a property window, I want you to go to the on the side, on the very top menu and window, and you can click on check on the property window. So right now property window is not there, but if I bring my property window out here, and as you can see, you can bring a property window in the middle of it, but you can bring everywhere. My recommendation always is bring it down to, and if you keep bringing it down, do you see this blue line? That means you can attach in the bottom of your windows. Oh, one more time. Let go. Now it's property window is down. So always remember a split between code view and design, and split and bring the property window out. Okay. Let's move on. All right, so you do basic preparation for working on your code. You know what it is, and then you know what it is. Now, you find this a little bit of menu over in the side. I would say I probably never gonna mention anything about here because this is a tool for helping you when you strictly typing anything here. So when you work on here and to, then this menu help whole a lot. But I find like this is nothing that for our case. So I'm gonna probably ignore the left side of it. Now I want you to remember this right side of it. So basically these are panels. Panel provides all other options, and then there are panel tab, there are files, this is library and everything. So there are right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs are opened, but that's also up to you. As you can see, you can bring some tabs on top of it. Let's say if you click on drum, you can adjust the size of it. You can click on asset, snippets, files, CC libraries. Okay, done. Insert, CSS design, and transitions. All those. But let's go to the file, and I will cover all this panel one at a time whenever we need to use it. So right now, just remember all this panel over here. So, and then if you are not, first for the Adobe Suite, this, do you see there is a standard? That is called a workspace. So workspace is nothing but you arrange your window as you want it. So what you see is property window down here, panels over here. All this layout is a sort of like a workspace. It's like how do you lay out and arrange things on your desk. If you click on this down here, there is a developer mode. So you go to the developer. So it's like there is no design view. It's gone. There's a huge like code review side and files left over. Even there is no property window open. That is what Dreamweaver think, or the developers or designer of the who designed the Dreamweaver think this is a developer or does. If you go back to standard, this is standard. Okay. Of course, you can bring something out here, and then you can say, well, I like this one. Of course, that can be your own preference. You can work it as like this way. But whenever you feel like in the standard, and you feel like, oh, I'm going to go back to my default setup of the standard, you just click on the reset standard, and this is reset standard. And as you can see, even for the reset, which means default mode of a standard workspace, doesn't have any property window down here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go property window one more time. I'm gonna bring it out. I attach it. So now this is not standard because standard doesn't have this property window. So I need to, because every single time I open Dreamweaver, I have to do this, and it's very tiresome. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go to the workspace, and I will, oh God, I got the standard first. Oh, okay. And I am going to create a new workspace here. Okay, create new workspace, and then you can say, hey, what's the name of your workspace? Yeah, because standard is already taken. Developer is taken, so you can come up with any name you liked. I will say this is a Lee style. Click on Lee. And then now I want you to notice that this workspace name is changed to something I said. So this is a Lee style. You can always go back to developer or standard. But again, when you go to the standard, let's say, let's reset standard. Let's go to standard, right? So this is a standard, but like I said, well, this is not I want. You can go to the Lee style over here, and then it's gonna bring your property window out. Okay, so remember, this is a workspace. It's universal for any Adobe Creative Suite. You will find very similar setup for Photoshop, Illustrator, even Premiere. They all called as Workspace. So I want you to remember this name. Cool. Few more things, because I know that my last video was too long, so I'm trying to make it a shorter one. Dreamweaver file menus are very similar, like all other Adobe Suite. It'll make a new HTML document. You can open any of existing HTML document, or you can open something that you opened recently. You can close document. Close all means you can close any HTML document you open, which means Dreamweaver can handle multiple documents at the same time. So what do we mean by that? As you can see here, the document we are working on is Untitled-2. And I don't know if you see it, but there are small little asterisk mark there. So whenever you see this asterisk mark, that means this document was not saved yet. So you have to make sure that before you close, even many times my students say, oh, Dr. Lee, I work for this HTML hour for 2 hours, and then I just forgot to save it, and then it's all gone. Yeah, it happened. So make sure that your name's right, and then if your name has any asterisk mark in it, which means you didn't save it. Now, what do I mean by multiple? If you go under the file and the new, so you remember this new document window. I'm going to go to new document, HTML, and then create a new. Look at here. There are Untitled-2 and Untitled-3. There are 2 documents at the same time. And then, of course, you can switch back and forth like this way. So right now, Untitled-2 and Untitled-3 is open, or 3s are open. That's why you can close individually or close all. And you can save a selected HTML document as it, or you can save as, which means you can save a currently selected HTML document to something else, or save all. Okay. And attach, export, import, these are things that we're gonna explain later on. So this much is about, you have to know about file. I'm gonna skip all this right now and then find a window. So window here, this is a property window we just brought up, but these are all the names of your panels. Okay. So for example, if you click on CSS library is just selected here. Okay. So I am going to stop here. You know basic idea of like how to work with the Dreamweaver. And in my next video, I will show you how to create our first HTML document like we did with our bracket last week. And we are going to start using Dreamweaver as our editor. Thank you for watching.